Now, maybe you've been looking at buying a PRS guitar for yourself and you've been completely perplexed by all these terms, 10 tops, wood libraries, private stocks, all that stuff. Wonder no more, because this video is going to answer exactly that question. Let's do it. Hello ladies and gents, Jack here from PRS Guitars, and today just want to offer up a very quick and concise, I hope, guide to the higher end of PRS guitars. PRS guitars are one of the most important, most prominent guitar brands around these days. Very, very popular for very, very good reasons. And it doesn't really matter what kind of level of PRS instrument you buy. I think you get a stellar instrument all the way down to their entry-level SE guitars, and obviously all the way up to their sensational private stock stuff. But it's all the stuff in the middle, particularly all the USA made stuff, that maybe gets a little bit blurry for people. And I think here at the shop, a lot of the sales team get many, many questions from people wondering exactly what some of those differences are. And we're going to just compare and contrast a few of the standout features of the core line, the wood library, and the private stock. So before we go in depth with each individual guitar, I want to first offer up a quick tone comparison so you can hear back-to-back playing clips with a clean tone and a dirty tone of each guitar, and it also gives me an excuse to show off the stunning Soldano SL030 that I'm using for all the playing clips in today's video. Let's get into it. Okay, so guitar number one that you'll have heard is this, the core line. This is where it's not actually where you start with the USA line of PRS guitars, that's of course the S2, but with this special semi-hollow, this particular model, the core line is basically the standard model. You get incredible range of finishes, some really nice options available. This model, as you'll have seen on the channel before, is legitimately one of my favorite guitar models around right now. Started life as a limited edition guitar. PRS standardized it last year as part of the core lineup. So very similar to a lot of other PRS guitars in terms of its base specs, in terms of mahogany wood body, gorgeous flame maple top, and you have differing degrees of that top. You can upgrade to a 10 top or an artist pack if you really want to get the highest grade level of flame available. This guitar though just looks absolutely stunning. There's nothing particularly stand out about it. It's not a 10 top. It's just a gorgeous, really nice piece of maple on the top. Mahogany wood neck with a gorgeous dark rosewood fingerboard, standard PRS Gen 3 tremolo with the locking tuners, and of course the standout thing about the special are the three different pickups. Two 5815 LT humbuckers and this narrow field pickup in the middle with a 5-way switch and an individual coil tap or coil split for each humbucking pickup. So loads of different tones, really, really comfortable guitar to play, stays in tune great. You've got a really nice different array of tones as well. You're going to hear in the clip that it sounds gorgeous clean on those kind of in-between pickup positions, utilizing the middle pickup. And then when you go to a higher gain sound with more distortion, it just sustains like nothing else. The semi-hollow nature of the guitar really projects each note out really clearly. It's got a lot of articulation. It's got a lot of kind of thickness to it at the same time. So in my opinion, it's one of the best balanced instruments across the entire kind of electric guitar soundscape board that you could hope to find. And this core line guitar just delivers all of that. No frills, no questions asked. It's a beautiful guitar, but it's a nice simple guitar at the same time. And there's plenty of different options in terms of finishes and so on that you can see on our website. but there's not much more else to say about this as a core line guitar. It does everything that you want it to do. So why would you spend any more? Let's find out. Okay, so to answer that question, we brought in guitar number 2, which is this, the Wood Library upgrade to the special semi-hollow. Now, if like me, you mistakenly believed that Wood Library was a grade of top, that is not the case. So the Wood Library refers to the kind of dealer program that certain dealers have where they can order limited runs of a particular spec variant of a model that differentiates it from the core line. So it's basically a way of dealers getting slightly different wood combinations, really delving deep into the PRS kind of wood libraries, so to speak, and really picking out finer grades of wood or different wood combinations. Now that's something you would typically see with the private stock, but the Wood Library is literally about half the cost. Certainly in this example compared to the private stock that we've got, it is basically half the cost. So you're getting kind of private stock sensibilities with that extra level of that kind of artisan build and really detailing in on the spec sheet certain custom options, but without spending as much money. And you get very limited runs as well, so these guitars are limited, not quite as limited as the private stock guitars, where they're completely one of one, but you certainly don't see many examples of a particular Wood Library run. Kind of consequently, you don't see any other guitars that look like this. I don't think we probably will, but they just kind of come through very slowly, and we maybe change the finishes or change the pickups, certain things like that. This particular guitar differs from the core line guitar by having a quilt, really nice quilt maple top, and interestingly, as opposed to a mahogany neck, we've got a flame maple neck on this as well. So essentially, this is kind of, in this case, John here at the shop, just kind of playing around a little bit with the certain wood combinations and different spec options that you can get and making it a limited run. So it's a very cool way of kind of tapping into that private stock sensibility without spending the extra money and getting a rather unique instrument at the same time. Although it's still based on that same core line special semi-hollow model, the Wood Library just puts it a little bit above in terms of its uniqueness. And also, in this particular guitar's case, I think this particular wood combination does something that I really like, and it's something that I associate with higher end models from PRS, which is that extra level of clarity, that extra bit of articulation, that extra little bit of special something that makes this guitar sound even more lively. Okay, so last of all, we end up here, the PRS private stock level. Now, you probably already know something about the private stock if you're watching this video, but just to elaborate a little bit further, this is essentially Paul Reed Smith's kind of playground, really, into building instruments that I guess maybe that aren't cost effective to implement into a core lineup or even the wood library. And really, they can explore the depths of not only their design ideals, but also the assets that they have, the amazing pieces of timber that they reserve specifically for private stock instruments. I mean, this guitar, for example, it's the same exact model, spec-wise, it's very, very similar to the core line, but we've just got crazy pieces of wood on this guitar. So, starting with the neck, Brazilian rosewood neck and fingerboard. Gorgeous to play, really, really comfortable, super smooth. And I noticed this with all the private stock instruments, not just the ones with exquisite pieces of wood like this, but they've got this roundness to them in terms of their feel and in terms of their tone that really kind of aligns them with what I've come to expect, whenever I'm lucky enough to play a vintage guitar. And I'm sure if you've ever played any guitars of a certain vintage, sort of 40, 50 or 60 years old, they have this feel to them and they have this tonal kind of quality where it's all very round, very soft. I guess it's where the wood has dried out over time, magnets in the pickups have weakened, all these kind of different attributes that guitar builders are constantly trying to chase after. I think PRS probably, of all the brands that I've played, come the closest to capturing that. Probably quite unintentionally as well. I don't think they're trying to make old sounding guitars, but to me, it always stands out when I play a private stock that tonally they have something different going on. And that's more than just the sum of the parts. I think that is genuinely the design ideals that they have for building these completely unique instruments. You'll never find another private stock that looks or sounds exactly like this guitar, and that is the amazing thing about them. It's really as good as instrument making gets as far as Paul Reed Smith is concerned. And it's kind of as bespoke and as artisan as a mainstream guitar builder really gets in this day and age. So this particular example, of course, not only I've talked about the sound so far, but just the look of this thing with this stunning quilt maple top. Laguna Dragon's Breath, I believe, is the colour. The other thing about private stock is just the sheer number of finishes that are available that you don't find anywhere else in the PRS lineup. So this finish, along with a plethora of others, and all their phenomenal inlay work and all the just slight little tweaks that you can get, make these guitars completely bespoke, completely unique, and completely stunning. And to be honest with you, there is this argument that says that guitars like this, maybe they shouldn't even exist because they're only going to be bought by the lucky few who can afford to buy them, and maybe they won't even get played. But do you know what? So what? This thing exists as a piece of art, whether you use it as an instrument as intended or not. Even if you're lucky enough to get this and just put it on your wall, who cares? It's genuinely a piece of art. It looks stunning, and just the knowledge that underneath the aesthetics is a quality instrument as well that you can use whenever you choose. It's kind of the perfect way of spending a huge chunk of money if you're able to do so, in my opinion. Is it twice as good as the other guitars in terms of the value? That's very subjective, and of course it depends on what you're able to spend, but I can definitely see where the money goes. Whether you appreciate what that money does for you, that's another question and another issue. But genuinely, with the private stock stuff, it is just another tier of instrument building. Not just in terms of the aesthetics, not just in terms of the tone, not just in terms of the components, it's the whole package. And it's the knowledge that you've got one of the best guitar manufacturers in the world today making you a completely bespoke instrument that you'll never find the likes of again, that just so happens to be a beautiful and awesome sounding package as well. Alright folks, now you've heard all three guitars, what do you think? Do your previous impressions and expectations still ring true? Or maybe now, having clarified some of the differences, maybe you have a newfound appreciation for these higher end guitars, or maybe the lower end guitars that you didn't have before. To be honest with you, as I said before, I don't think you can go wrong with PRS, whichever way you go. Whether it's the cheapest guitars they make, whether it's the most expensive guitars they make, they just have their own thing. They have a very strongly defined character that, in my opinion, just becomes more characterful the higher up the ladder that you go, because those fine little details are all being ironed out in very particular ways, and they really kind of just push into certain niches that no other brand really does, in my opinion. So whether you go right to the top of the tree, or for the equally stunning and very impressive core line, or that wonderful in-between of the wood library, I don't think you can go wrong. And if you want to find out more information about any of these three instruments, or indeed any of the other PRS products that we carry, all the information, of course, will be on our website, peachguitars.com. Will be linked in the description below. There's also a lot more information to be had over there as well if you want to find out more about the company and more details about all the stuff I've talked about with the different families within the PRS lineup too. So all that's left for me to say is that I would very much like to know your thoughts. Which of these three is your favourite? Can you see the justification for the extra cost of a stunning instrument like this? Or do you think that the core line is plenty good enough for anybody? Or indeed, is even that too much? Let me know whatever your thoughts are down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see more from us in the future, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and you'll be notified very kindly whenever we post new content in the future. So there we are folks, thank you for watching, take care, I'll see you next time, bye bye.